What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to My Social Life. This is the podcast where we talk to people that are absolutely killing it on social media. We learn how they grew their following and what they've done to monetize in an online world. My guest today is Josh Reyes. And Josh is an internationally ranked powerlifter who at one point in time was technically ranked top 10 in his weight class in the entire world. On top of that, though, Josh is also the co-founder, along with his girlfriend Mallory, of a company called LVD Fitness. And LVD Fitness was, since its launch up until very, very recently, a powerlifting lifestyle and apparel company. But we're going to get into why that they're looking to reposition the company and how they're doing it. And on top of that, we're also going to go right back to the very beginning before the company even launched, and we're going to look at how it came to be. And then of course we're going to get into the launch, how it went, what they did in order to launch, and of course we're going to talk about how they scaled the company and the importance of growing and fostering a community to help your company scale. And this is My Social Life, so we will definitely be getting into how Josh and Mallory grew LVD's Instagram to over 21,000 Instagram followers. And on top of that, Josh himself has over 14,000 Instagram followers on his personal account. So I really can't wait to get into this episode. It's a really, really good one, guys. So let's just get to it. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to My Social Life. This is the podcast where we talk to people that are killing it on social media, and we learn how they grew their audience and what they've done to monetize in an online world. My guest today is Josh Reyes. He's the co-founder of LVD Fitness. He's 24. He's a powerlifter. So LVD is a powerlifting apparel company. Did you say that's...
Yeah, we're kind of moving away from that, and we want to call ourselves like a strength lifestyle.
Oh, cool.
We started off with powerlifting, but at this point, to grow to the next level, we want to kind of branch out to other strength sports.
That's awesome.
So instead of having powerlifting in our taglines, we just want to go strength, just to cover more general.
That's awesome. So now that's a pretty good background, but I want to allow you to kind of give a little background on yourself.
Cool. So my name's Josh. I'm 24 years old. I'm an internationally ranked powerlifter. I went to school for business, graduated with my business degree in 2017, quit my full-time job in last June. I quit my full-time job September 2017, and now I've been full-time entrepreneur ever since.
That's awesome. So you kind of said you touched on being an internationally ranked powerlifter. Mm-hmm. When did just weightlifting as a whole kind of start for you?
It started out at the end of my high school career. I got really into football. I was kind of a late bloomer in football. I played basketball my whole life, and then I started playing football around grade 10, and made the high school team, made a city team, and at that point I was pretty small and short for football. So if you're short in football, you have to be fast and relatively bigger. So I got into the gym to get bigger, faster, stronger. Started going to the gym with my friends for Good Life. Good Life has a free teen summer program. So
awesome.
For the summer, it's a free gym pass, right? So I took the opportunity, worked out for 2 summers, and then eventually getting my a membership there. And then that's how I got into lifting.
Yeah. So then when did the transition to powerlifting kind of start?
So going back to football, after my first year of university, I didn't make any varsity teams, and I just didn't play any sports that year, which really bummed me out. I kind of missed that competitive edge and being a part of a team. So from there, on my second year, I looked at different clubs or teams that I could try out for, and the Carleton Ravens football team actually came back. So this was the debut. They had their first team in 10 years, and they had open tryouts. So that was an opportunity for me to make varsity, right? So I went out, went to the gym to get bigger, faster, stronger, and I ended up being the last guy they cut to make the team that year. So they didn't need anyone for my position, which was fair. But then after that, I just fell in love with lifting even more. Went to the gym more often, and one day a powerlifter came up to me and he was like, "Do you powerlift?" I was like, "What is that?" Right? And he's like, "Oh, it's squat, bench, and deadlift." And I was like, "Oh, I know what those are." And he's like, "Yeah, it's you have 3 attempts to hit as heavy weight as you can, right?" And then he says, "I have a lot of potential and I should try out for the team one day." I was like, "Why not?" Right? Tried out for the team, ended up making it. And then 2 years later, I was the president of the team. And then now just powerlifting is my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So when was your first meet then?
So my first meet would have been September 2014.
2014.
Yes.
Okay. And then since then, like you've kind of, like you said, you've gone up the ranks. You've competed nationally. So you're internationally ranked. Does that mean you've gone to like a world championship?
I did. So I competed at Worlds in 2016 in Texas.
How'd that go?
It was amazing. So to make the world team, you have to basically win nationals, and I came second that year at nationals, so I didn't make the team. Unfortunately, the guy who did win had to drop out, so I was their second best option. So I got the call like a month and a half out, like weeks out. So I was like, I really had to get back into training, but it wasn't that bad. And going into it, I knew I wasn't gonna win or like come close. I came in nominated 12th out of 20, which
awesome.
wasn't bad, middle of the pack. And I honestly went in there looking to just give Team Canada as many points as we can to kind of win a team spot, like ranked first junior team, second, third. So I just listened to the coaches, whatever they wanted me to hit, I'll hit. And I ended up coming 10th out of 20. So like right in the middle. I beat my projections, so that makes me happy.
Yeah, but that's awesome then.
It was unreal.
So you can say you're like top 10 in the world then, technically?
At the time.
Yeah.
A lot has changed in 2 years. But at the time I was top 10 in the world.
That's unreal.
Yeah.
So I got to ask, like, what are your PRs then for dead, squat, and bench?
So currently 550 for squat, 330 for bench, and 635 for deadlift.
That's bad. Like I can't wrap my head around that.
Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. So I kind of want to talk a little about like weightlifting stuff, just because it doesn't look like it, but I do go to the gym.
Yeah.
Like, what's nutrition look like? Because that's something I'm trying to.
Yeah. Nutrition for powerlifters is kind of funny. People always ask if I'm on like a really strict diet. It's not like bodybuilding where everyone is like cutting weight, right, and like on a very strict macro plan. Powerlifting, it depends on your goals, right? So like me currently, I'm going up a weight class, so I'm like eating a lot, like I'm on a caloric surplus all the time, whereas some people are cutting down a weight class, so they're cutting a lot, and some people just stay kind of steady, and then close to competition they'll do a little bit of a cut, right? So it all varies. For me specifically, I've kind of always been on the gain train. I've always just wanted to get bigger and get stronger. In like high school and stuff, I was like on mass gainer, I was like protein shake, I was on everything, like all the supplements, because I thought that's what you needed to get bigger. And in reality, I realized you didn't really need all that stuff. Like you could just do it naturally. And as like a broke university student, I didn't have enough money to buy like protein, creatine, and like pre-workout and stuff. So I kind of just like stopped, but then I kept making gains. So I'm like, okay, I don't really need supplements. So like to this day, I don't take any supplements.
Like no supplements at all?
No. And like, so there's another story to that is that we're in a drug-free sport. Same regulations as like the Olympics. And since like with supplements, there's always a chance of like contaminations. And it's been really big topic in powerlifting where a lot of people are getting banned substances in their like legal pre-workouts or protein that they buy at like GNC or Popeyes. So I'm like, okay, I can't risk that because one, sure, I'm a big powerlifter, but two, like my business revolves around powerlifting. So if I took a supplement and then all of a sudden I got popped for something I didn't actually take because of contaminations, like my business would be done. Like my reputation, like my customers, everything would be gone. And to me, it's just not worth the risk.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
And then so pre-workout, I think I've seen Monster Energy, right?
Yeah, like energy drinks is like the only thing. Energy drinks and coffee is all I do.
Okay, that's fair. So, but like no, like not even like protein or anything, like nothing.
I could do protein.
Yeah.
I just that's the one thing I'm lagging.
Yeah.
But I could, but I don't.
That's fair.
Just kind of lazy. I don't know.
Yeah. And then so the company started November 2015. Then.
That's when we launched.
Okay.
So it actually started January 2015 in an entrepreneurship class.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So it wasn't my class. It was actually Mallory's class.
Yep.
So the class objective was to create a business that you may potentially continue after the class, right? So then at the time, Mallory and I were both workout partners. And we were both entrepreneurial. And we kind of knew we wanted to try and create a business in fitness or powerlifting. So she took that opportunity to ask if I wanted to join her in the class. To me, it wasn't really about the class. It was just like an opportunity to start a business. So we went through 2 other business ideas before like a lifestyle powerlifting brand, just through trial and error, and like logistically speaking, the other 2 didn't make sense. So we ended up landing on LVD. And then we worked on that throughout the semester, realized that there was an opportunity there. So we're like, okay, let's continue this further. Created our social media during the summer, worked on our brand guide. That took a long time because we're an e-commerce brand, right? So the first thing that the customers are going to interact with is your social media, right? Like your digital presence. So to us, branding was very important. So we spent like almost 3 months on just the branding alone. And then come September, we printed our first 100 shirts. And that was like the do or die moment, right? So we told ourselves, if we could sell 100 t-shirts, we're going to continue with this business. If we can't sell 100 t-shirts, then scrap it and move to the next. We ended up selling 100 t-shirts plus a back order. So we had people asking us for shirts and we didn't even have inventory for it. So we're like, okay, we got to get this thing going. October, we worked on the back end. So we got our business license, we got our website going, and then November is when we launched.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so there's a lot of back end stuff before we actually ended up launching the business.
So LVD, I know what it stands for, but can you explain to everyone like what it stands for and how you guys came up with it?
Yeah, so LVD stands for Lift, Visualize, Dominate. And that's essentially the process in lifting, from like working out every day to competing at like the world level, or like not the world level for everyone, but like just competing, right? So it's like you do your lifting day in, day out, and then the day of competition, you do a lot of visualizing, right? Like that's one really good way to create success, is to visualize your goals before that you actually do them, and then you go out there and dominate on the platform. But that could actually go further than lifting itself. To me, it's just like it could be applied to anything. So like school, right? Like you do all your work, you visualize before your exam, and then you go dominate your exam, right? So it could be applied to almost anything in life.
Yeah. And then so when you sold those first 150 shirts, I guess?
100 shirts.
100 shirts in the back order? Yep. That was at one weekend, right? Kind of when...
that was like 2 to 3 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah, but one of the weekends we had an event, like we went to an event, set up shop, and like sold in person. And then the rest was more kind of friends and family and in person. Like we sold our shirts for $20 and we were just like, do you want to support? Like, do you like our idea? Do you like our designs? And a lot of people really clicked with them. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really cool.
That's awesome though. And so when you printed the first 100, was it all the same design?
All the same design. Literally just our logo on a black shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just like plain black with like the logo like kind of in the middle?
Yep. And it was more so we were selling our message. So we provide a month of clean water for every item sold, and we do that through our charity partner, WaterAid Canada. But along the years, we've also done work with other charities, and we're kind of moving towards that way. Just overall contributing a percentage of our sales to a cause.
I think I saw somewhere recently that it was like 500,000 months. Maybe correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, of clean water that we've provided to date.
That's incredible, man. Yeah. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. And so Mallory's your girlfriend, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. So just kind of when you guys started dating before you launched, or like was that
during before, like during is like during like her class.
Okay.
Like when she was doing it for her class.
Yeah.
But so when we launched, you were already dating at the time.
Okay.
Great idea though, like start a business and then start dating someone. But yeah, well, that was already like happening. It wasn't like, oh, let's start a business and date at the same time. Like it just kind of all happened. But yeah, you're dating.
So like working with your girlfriend, how does that work? Like what's the dynamic like?
It's pretty cool. She's like a marketing geek. Like that's all she does. And I'm more like number driven. So like analytics. And we just play off our skills and our like characteristics kind of. I'm very much I'm like out there, like I want to do so many things, and it's like sometimes they're like not even realistic, and she's like very like realistic, and we kind of meet halfway, right? So like I'll have this great idea, she'll be like, I don't know about that, and I'm like, okay, let's like maybe it could work if we try this. So we very much complement each other in business, and I think that's a very good trait, and we didn't really see that at the beginning. We just kind of went into it, but looking back at it, it definitely helped a lot, because if you were both into marketing and didn't know anything about numbers or the back end, we'd really be suffering on that end of the business, and that we could like butt heads on the marketing end, or it's just that two heads are better than one, right? But if two heads are the same head, then technically it's still like one, right? So looking back at it, it really worked out.
That's good. And then when you launched, was it just the two of you, or did you have anyone else kind of helping out?
When we launched, it was just the two of us.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you guys designed the shirts and logos your own?
Yep.
Yeah.
We'd draw them up on paper, put them on Microsoft Paint.
Awesome.
And we still do paint.
Really?
Yep. Well, we do it, but then we always send it off to a graphic designer to make it like official. But to us, like we could design everything on paint the way, like minimally, and then the designer could just like finish it off and we'll send it off for production.
So those first shirts, like, was the logo pulled directly from paint then, or did you send it to like Fiverr or something to get it done?
So our logo, we worked with a graphic designing company from Ottawa. So that logo was just the logo they created for us, and we just like slapped it on a shirt.
Basically, it's LVD then, essentially is what the logo is, but just kind of stylized
Kind
a
of,
little bit?
yeah, abstract. Actually, it was the original logo was that it had like a D part connected to the V, so it was like V, but then it finished off with like a D. But to us, we didn't like it.
Yeah.
It looked too much like a wrench, and we actually wrapped that logo. And then we were looking at other ones, and then I was just playing on my computer. I'm like, what if we take that thing? 'Cause it was bothering me that it wasn't symmetrical, right? So we took it off to make it symmetrical, and then for some reason it just like really clicked. Like that little change ended up being our logo. But yeah.
So when you printed them, how did you print them? Did you like order them online or work with a local company?
Worked with a local company that I think Mallory worked with them in high school for like her prom. She already had a contact there, so yeah, local company.
Yeah. And then the other thing, so was your website, was it like a Shopify website?
Shopify right away.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of biased because Shopify's from Ottawa. We're both entrepreneurial, right? So obviously we knew about Shopify, and we just wanted to use the platform because it's an Ottawa company, right? So Shopify then and Shopify now, and we still like promote Shopify as much as we can. We love Shopify.
Yeah, it's an awesome company.
Yeah.
I saw Mallory was just there speaking, right?
She was, yeah. It was really cool. They reached out to us to have her as a panelist at one of their events. Basically, they bring all their gurus, like their customer support, into town and just do like a week-long event. And they basically wanted merchants that the gurus were helping to be on a panel so the gurus could ask them questions about like stuff that they're facing. Because gurus, technically, they can only answer like on keyboard, right? Or like on the phone. But to interact in person with a merchant was just like game-changing for them.
So when you had the full like website launch, what was the reception like that day? Like, did you guys... Like, were you blown out?
Zero traffic, zero sales.
Really?
Yeah.
So how long did it take for that first web sale?
Probably about a month until we got like our first website sale, and that was like one of our friends from Toronto wanted to buy, so he had to buy online because like we weren't in person, so then we had to ship it to him and whatnot, right? But that was probably the first one. It was really interesting because like we were like, okay, let's launch this website and then we'll just sell online. We soon realized that nobody knows who we are. It's not like we have a storefront in a really busy street where people could just walk by, see our logos, like, oh, this is kind of cool, and walk in, right? So then we were like, hey, we need to do something to get in front of customers. So we tried to do as many events that we could, like set up shop at events to just get out there, get the brand out there. And in the beginning of our business, our event sales were here and online sales were here. And then now it's like this. It's like flipped. Like our event sales are like down here and online is up here. And like now we're like mainly online, like 90% online sales.
Really?
Yeah.
So with the launch, you were talking about so you went online initially and you launched social media, you kind of put it up in the summer, right? Mm-hmm. And then I was just, because I went back and I was like looking through.
Yeah.
The company page had like 90 likes on the first post you guys ever did, something like that.
Yeah.
So how did you guys kind of get that traction right away?
Right away, it was more so from like redirecting our followers to our page. Mm-hmm. And at the time, like we weren't like anything big either. When I say followers, I more meant just like our friends, right? So yeah, that's how that came out. And it's just like we told our friends we're launching this company. Everyone's excited for us, so obviously like they're just gonna like it. Yeah, that's kind of how it started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then how did you kind of grow the
the page beyond your friends and family? Was it kind of going to those events and stuff and kind of just putting in the work and getting the brand out there?
Yeah, it was a lot of things. Going to the events definitely helped. The two main things that helped grow our account were us spending hours on hashtags and literally just commenting on people's posts, but like organic, like genuinely, right? It's not like we don't have a bot, like we don't post a great photo on a video, right? Like we're actually genuinely watching the videos of their lift and we'll comment something. We'll like a bunch of powerlifters things, and it's almost like forced marketing where, because like if we like their photo or video, they're gonna see on their notification, it's like, oh, like who's LVD Fitness, and then they'll click your account and then they'll find out about you. So we did that for a really long time, and that was before like a lot of like bots even were a thing, so it was really effective. So that's one side of things, and the other side of things was our athletes. So they gave us a lot of credibility. It's one thing to like have a clothing brand and have like your friends rep it, but having like a top tier athlete rep it, it's like, okay, like what company is this? Or like, okay, they're legit, you know? So that helped us a lot in growing our social presence. And yeah.
You have 6 athletes now, right?
Yes, we do.
Yeah. And I wrote their names down here somewhere. You have 4 girls and 2 guys, right?
Mm-hmm. Currently.
Yeah, because I think I read on the website somewhere that powerlifting is growing more and more like amongst girls.
Yes, it's growing like crazy.
Yeah, so
strength sports and like with women is amazing. Yep.
So was that kind of motivated your decision to get kind of lean more towards having female athletes than male athletes? Like what was that?
Not so much. I mean, it looks like that now, but we added Natalie really recently. But in the beginning, our first one is Ray Williams, and then our second one was Jen Thompson. We want to do like a balance of both male, female, Canada, USA, and like we're still currently looking for more male athletes and more international, just to help get our brand out there more internationally. But there wasn't really a game plan. It just so happened how it came about. And another big thing about like our athletes, like all of them supported us before being an athlete. You know what I mean? It's like there's people who ask us to be athletes who don't own any LVD, who haven't even looked at our old athletes, basically don't know anything about us. Whereas all of our athletes, they like supported us from the beginning, before we even like considered them as athletes. So that was just really cool, and it's really genuine. So yeah, there was no game plan. It just kind of ended up being how it is.
That's fair. And I was going to ask how you found, like, because you have multiple athletes from the States, like how you found them, or so you just kind of noticed them supporting and then reached out?
Other way around.
Really?
Like this is like one of my favorite stories. So Ray Williams, in my opinion, is like the LeBron James of powerlifting. Like he's like top tier powerlifter in our federation, and I knew about him. And all of a sudden, like one night, this guy, his Instagram is Optimus Prime. Like Mal was like, this Optimus Prime guy is liking all our stuff. Like, oh, he's looking for a follow. And then I'm like, that's Ray Williams. She's like, what? I was like, yeah. So then we DM'd him right away. We're like, hey Ray, like big fan, big supporter. Thanks for showing love. Would you ever like to hop on a call one day? And he was all about it, hopped on a call with us, and he just said he just really liked our brand, our presence, and the fact that we give back, like that we give back to causes, and that to him, he wanted to work with a company more than like money. Like he's like, I don't really, like money's fine, but he wants to build a legacy. That's his main reason of doing powerlifting, and he felt that we could help him create that legacy through like his custom t-shirts and just providing donations back to charities that mean a lot to him. So he was literally on board right away, but he came to us basically, right? Like he started liking all our stuff. And then Jen Thompson, he was in Canada for an event in Hamilton, Ontario, and we got to know her like personally. And then after that weekend, Mal and I were driving back home, and we were like, oh, wouldn't it be cool to like one day have Jen Thompson as an athlete? And it was, yeah, it would be amazing. And a week later, she reaches out to us, and she's like, would you guys ever be looking for, like, would you ever consider me as an athlete? We were like mind blown. We were up at her cottage. Wi-Fi sucked. We're like, if we want to respond right away. But yeah, we ended up getting through to her. So we set up a call, and yeah, now she's one of our athletes.
So were those your first two athletes then?
First two athletes, yeah.
I know, because Ray Williams he would, like, when I'm on your page and on Instagram, he's the guy that first caught my eye. Just 'cause he's a monster of a human being. Like, he's huge.
Yeah.
And then his shirts, like his custom shirts, is the Money Time one, right?
Yeah.
See, that's the one, because I bought this shirt.
Yep.
But I was trying to buy the Money Time, but it was sold out.
I know, they go by so fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I like this one too. It's just sometimes that when I'm like benching only one plate and I have a bar loaded t-shirt on, I kind of feel like I don't know if I should be wearing it at that point in time, but like I love the shirt.
Yeah,
I think it's
cool.
great.
Thank you.
No worries. And then so you've added 4 more athletes as well on top of that.
Yes, we
you
did.
have, I think it's the top ranked powerlifter in Canada, right?
Kelly Brandon.
Yeah.
Great friend of ours. We actually wanted to. Kelly was our first choice as an athlete, being Canadian ourselves, the top Canadian athlete. But there was a lot of logistical issues with him. He was like more tied down to his main sponsor, which was fine. Like, we get it. You have a contract, and we totally understand. And so like we couldn't really get him on board right away, and that was a little more challenging. So we ended up going with just Ray and Jen eventually. We also have Marie Hati, the strongest female in Canada. We have Alyssa Smith, so she was the strongest female junior at the time. And again, from Ottawa, close friend, big supporter. And like Natalie Hansen, she's top female equip lifter in the world.
Wow. So you guys got some like really like strong athletes then.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
not like both physically and just like presence wise.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And it's one more
Yeah.
thing to add. It's like people think that we're just reaching out to like the top athletes, but in fact, like all of our athletes are our friends first. Like we established a friendship, and then like it just so happens like we each want to do business together, but like we were all like friends with our athletes before they were all athletes.
Yeah. So what's the, you don't have to get into specifics, but is it just like free merch? Like, what's the relationship like from a business perspective?
It changes as we grow, right? So at the very, very beginning, it was just like free merch. And then as we grow, we still do the free merch, but then we're paying for some of their meet expenses, right? So like travel accommodations or their entry fees. Entry fees could get up to $300, right, for a meet. So we're slowly moving towards more compensation, and we also do a lot of like custom apparel, and then we'll donate a portion of the sales to like a charity of their choice. Yeah,
that's awesome. And you guys are looking to add, you said looking for more athletes and international athletes.
2 things. So like international athletes, and also we're starting like an ambassador program. So it won't. So we're almost gonna tier our athletes. So like there's the elites, but then there's gonna be like a second tier that you have an opportunity to become an elite. We're still working on that. We don't really know the final details on that, but it's coming.
Yeah, that's awesome. I was actually going to bring that up because I saw on your website, like underneath the athletes, it says we're looking for tier 2. So people can apply for tier 2,
It's
right?
going to be an application process. Yeah.
Yeah. And so when you're kind of looking at bringing on athletes, is like social media following something you're looking at? Because I know your athletes currently, their followings vary. Like you have some, I think, with like 7,000, but then people with like 100K plus.
Yeah. It definitely has an impact on our choices, just because they have an influence within the community. But it's not the only one. It also comes down to your personality, what you put out there. If you're going to be in the sport kind of long term, right? Like we don't want someone who's part-time powerlifter. There's nothing wrong with a part-time powerlifter. It's just we're looking for someone just like more really into the community. And potential, right? Like we're looking at some of the like juniors and sub juniors. So junior is 23 and under, and sub junior is 18 and under, I believe. And we're looking at those athletes that have a potential to become the Ray Williams of the future, right? So there's a lot of aspects that goes through athletes. Yeah.
And you do a lot of media stuff too for your athletes, right? Because you've added a second stream to the business, which is LVD Media.
Yeah.
Can you kind of explain like when you guys decided to make that a part of your business?
Yeah. So that was actually a funny story because so my cousin is our photographer. It's pretty funny how it started, but so we brought him to a lot of our events just to shoot us, right? To take photos of our booth, our customers, our merch, and then we realized that if we just like turned him around and shot like athletes, like we could probably charge, right? And it was a service. And what also helped is there's a company in the States, 9 for 9 Media, the first one to do like powerlifting media, and they were like killing media services for powerlifting in the US, but we were like, there's no service like this in Canada. So we're like, okay, maybe we could start this similar service in Canada and kind of give Canadians that same media opportunity. And then from there, it just like escalated to us doing bigger and bigger meets until we got like we did nationals this year.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And so just your cousin's Instagram has 613, right?
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Cause I've seen him like tagged and stuff and popped up.
Yeah.
So no, that's awesome. So then, cause you guys are going do you go to basically most of the major meets you can go to?
In Canada, 100%. In the US, we try our best to, but like it's a little harder flying internationally, budget wise, and there's just so many big meets in the US, right? So like we have like regionals in Canada, right, where there's 3 regionals. In the US, there's like 8 regionals. Like we can't reach all the regions. So we will do it in Canada, and we'll try our best or pick and choose which ones in the States to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you ever kind of send him to like to do photography media stuff on his own? Like just say like Ray Williams is doing an event. Would you send him to take a pic? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So then was he then like John is his name, right?
Mm-hmm.
Was he technically like the first employee of LVD outside of you and Mal?
Yeah, he was. From the very beginning, like I remember, what was this? I think it was January 2016. We released like a new hoodie, or no, zip up and like a snapback, and we needed product shots. We needed a photo shoot, and we're like, hey John, like, do you still have that camera? And he's like, yeah, I think so. And then we went to like Mooney's Bay, like a beach in Ottawa, and we just like did a shoot. And we just used all those photos for our social media, and that's how it started. He just kept shooting our products, our models, and then as we were growing, he was like, oh man, like they're growing and my photography is like okay. So like he was like pressured to grow with us, so he really dove into photography, got a lot better, and like 100% of our photos on Instagram are all him. Those are all his photos.
Really?
Yeah.
So you don't use, and like he's literally like the exclusive LVD photographer then?
Yeah.
That's cool.
The main photographer.
Yeah.
Like we have a team that works under us to help us, but he's like our head honcho. Like he'll edit all the photos. Like he'll say what's good and what's not. And yeah.
Yeah. And now you have, I think, a total of, is it 6 employees? I think.
We actually don't have any. Mal and I are the only full-time employees.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So the rest are all contracted.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's like there's really no one we need from like a day-to-day basis. Like John will help us for like obviously photo shoots when there's launch, and he'll work meets, but meets aren't every weekend. And we have a video guy similar. My sister packed our orders when we traveled, and we didn't really pay her. She just stayed at our house right when we were gone, and to her, like being alone away from my parents was like good enough. And then our graphic designer, she's I guess our most consistent one, but she just logs her hours, and then every month she'll just send us her hours. Some months could be 0 hours, some months could be 60 hours, depending on if we have, like what we have going on. So we only have 2 full-time employees actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so your graphic designer, does she design all the clothes, or is that still you two, and then she kind of just builds them out a little more?
In the beginning, it was more so like we send her our paid file and she just mocks it all up, and then now she's like very involved in the process of creating the products. So we'll when we're starting a collection, we'll go through just like themes, like what do we like, what styles, what kind of prints do we like, colors, and then from there we'll just start breaking down like apparel items, the designs, like locations on the shirt. She is very involved at this point.
Yeah. So was her background, does she have any background in kind of like clothing design prior to, or was it just graphic and she just kind of evolved with you guys?
Nope, she had no clothing experience, but that was one of her goals. So like, when did she start working? I think 2017, so last year. One of her major goals was to work on some like with a clothing company, right? Like she just wanted to like get experience, and it just so happened that we reached out to her. A big bonus to her is that she's also a powerlifter, so she is our target customers, right? So she gets it. Our first graphic designer was just one of Mallory's friends, and he was great, but we wanted like a shirt design, a Snapchat filter for one of our events, and he gave us a guy like flexing, I'm like, we don't really flex in powerlifting. Like, we don't do that, right? But he didn't know that, and he just thought, okay, fitness, like, what do they do? So it really does help to have someone who's actually in the sport.
Yeah. So how often do you guys, because when you mentioned the events, it kind of popped in my mind. How often do you guys go to the events?
Okay, so last year we went to, like, at one point in the summer, every weekend we were at a different event in Ontario. So we were always driving to different places, just trying to set up shop. This year was more so. Last year we also did our first like Western event, so like out west, and then we did our first Eastern event. So last year was almost just like Canada focused. This year is more like US focused. So this year we had a lot of US travel. Still a lot of Ontario travel as well, but not as much because obviously you can't double book, right? Because like we can't be in the States and Ontario at the same time. But yeah, this year our focus was more in the US. And this month has been slow. Like we only did, what did we do? We only had like one event, but next month in August we're like all over. Yeah.
Granted, just for being slow though, you just recently launched a whole new collection, right?
The Evolve collection, that was in June, but we just released a restock and like some smaller items. Like that collection just went so fast that like we just needed to restock. And we launched that yesterday or 2 days ago.
2 days ago?
Yeah.
So does that kind of like when you launched, you kind of plan to not go to events because you just know you'll be busier?
Actually the opposite. We plan
really?
to be at events for launches.
Actually, that makes sense.
Sorry, let me rephrase that. So let's say we have a new collection and we have it ready, right? And we'll plan it around an event. So what we'll do is, if we have the collection by like Monday, Wednesday, like whatever during the week, we'll plan to have an event that weekend. So then launch it at the event first, kind of give everyone a first taste, and then the Monday after we'll launch it online.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then, so I guess that's what you did with the Evolve collection then, right? Because you were at a meet in Toronto.
Toronto Pro Show. Yeah.
And so you did all the media and photography stuff for the collection prior to the event, right? In Toronto.
Yeah.
Like I've seen it's a picture of you like running.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So, and it just creates hype, right? So like we have all that hype before the event. We're at the event, we're storying it, we're doing a bunch of media at the event, selling our stuff. But people online can't get it, right? So they're like, okay, like when are you releasing this online? When can I buy it? And it creates that like urgency, right? So that's kind of why we do the event first and then online launch.
Yeah. And so you talked about just how the Evolve collection went so fast, and then which obviously just points to the fact the company's growing. It's growing fast. Yeah. So is your social media now. Like LVD is over 21,000, I think.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Yeah. I think last year we just broke 10,000 last year. So we almost doubled, I guess, our followers.
Yeah. So I know you talked earlier about like kind of like going through the hashtags and stuff, and really just kind of like putting in like manual commenting, watching videos, all that. Mm-hmm. Is there anything else you guys did that kind of points to like your growth and how that happened, or is it just kind of getting out there in the community, like showing the brand off? Yeah.
So in the beginning, that's what it was like all about. Before a lot more companies were around, it was like again more efficient. And then now to us, it's not really about the followers. It's just more about like your engagement and your actual community. Like our Instagram account is more so just like a platform to showcase our products, interact with our customers, more so than just like trying to get a bunch of followers, right? So to us, followers is good, but we just want that engagement in the community more so.
I agree. I don't like trying to build a following is great and everything, but at the end of the day, like the goal of the business is to make money. So if it's like the 1,000 true fans kind of mindset. Have you heard of that before? Yeah. So just kind of, I get what you're saying with that.
Because like you get 1,000 followers of people who will never convert, and like, what's the point of having those followers, right? Like, yeah.
Because I know the way I found the company is you guys did a shoot with Moten Hopkins and his girlfriend. Yeah. So that's kind of how I found the company. Was right back whenever you guys did that photo shoot. But back to the hashtags, because that's something that interests me. Like you kind of said you gamed the hashtags. What were you guys looking for with that? How did you settle on the hashtags? The hashtags were all geared towards what we were targeting, right? So we would do hashtag powerlifting, hashtag IPF. So the IPF is our federation. Any hashtags that are relevant to us, we will like go through like liking and commenting stuff. Yeah. And how many did you use? Because I knew before used to be Instagram had that 30 hashtag limit, but now I'm seeing things that's like 8 to 11 is a sweet spot for engagement. Like what's
we honestly didn't. We used there's two different things. Like we use those 30 hashtags in our post before.
Yeah.
But when we go into them, we didn't even use that many. We just used powerlifting, IPF, and like OPA, so like our Ontario federation, and that's all we did. Yeah. We'll start small, right? Like you want to start more local and then it's like expand to globally. So we really honed in on the Ontario powerlifting community. Ontario was also the biggest province in Canada for powerlifting, which worked out in our favor, right? So then from there, like everyone, it just started growing to other provinces and other countries.
Yeah. So outside of the hashtags and really like engaging with your community and genuinely engaging, do you have tips for people that are looking to grow their own social media?
Currently, it's actually so hard. Like in 2018 now, it's like growing your social media is really difficult. Because of the saturation, like everyone's on Instagram now. So many clothing brands out there, so many of anything, right? Like if you're a digital marketer, if you're like a rapper, like there's so many of all of those. And a lot of people are just like fluff, as in like, I don't want to be rude, but like they're just there, taking up space, might not make it. But it hurts the people who are like really talented, because then like people don't want to be spammed by another clothing brand, but that clothing brand could be the next like Nike, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just really hard. My number one tip still would be to just create a community. Like once you create a community, that will just carry you so much further. That's how Mallory grew her personal a lot. She honed in on like her positivity, self-love kind of community. For me right now, it's still my lifting. Like I could post a squat video and get like 10,000 views, and I'll post like a video of me at the cottage. It's like 100 likes. Nobody cares about me at the cottage, and they just kind of want to see me lift. So right now, like if I want to grow a lot, I should just be posting lifting videos, right? So back to your point, build a community first. Don't care about followers. It's more about engagement.
Yeah, and I think just kind of based off what you said would be like knowing your niche too, right? For growth.
Yeah, everything's about a niche. You have to start at a niche.
Yeah. And then you touched on your personal social media, because so the company has 21.1, I think.
Yeah.
And you're sitting at like 14.4 thousand, right?
Yeah.
So was you growing, like, did you already have a sizable following on social media prior to
starting it?
Yeah.
No, probably 1,000, maybe 2,000. Not big at all.
Was the growth in your personal page just a byproduct of LVD growing and becoming a more recognizable brand?
I'm going to say no, because starting LVD, we didn't want to be the face of our company, as weird as that sounds. Like we wanted it to just be like more about the community and the people in it. And like that's why if you look at the very beginning, we weren't even in any of the photo shoots, like barely, because we just wanted it to be less about us and more about the goals of our community. And then just as we grow, like people found out who the creators were, and like they just wanted to know more about us, and now we're more involved in it. But it kind of works both ways. Like some people find LVD first and they find us, and then some people find us first and then they find LVD. So it's just like, I wouldn't say one was a byproduct of the other. I think they just were kind of two separate entities that ended up helping each other out.
Yeah. So did you kind of, when you were using your own social media, did you use the hashtags and engage with people similar to what you're doing with the company? Like did learnings from that help you grow your personal page?
Yep, I did. I definitely did that, and more on like the powerlifting side of things. Like I guess it was the same as LVD. It was just more so like finding other strong people or just commenting, like creating friends. Like most of my really close friends now don't even live in Ottawa. They're all like all over North America because of Instagram, right? So it was just creating friendships and meeting new people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fair. Would you say that Instagram is the main platform for both yourself and LVD Fitness in terms of social media?
100%.
Yeah. Was there a reason like you're not, like, because you have a Facebook page, correct?
We do.
And Twitter as well.
We do, but we haven't touched that in a long time.
Yeah. So is there a reason why like you're focused primarily on Instagram, and is there any like thought of ever like going to other platforms?
Yeah. So in the beginning, we were toying with all the platforms like Snapchat, Pinterest, like literally anything, and just seeing the engagement and like what people were doing. We soon realized that powerlifters were mainly on Instagram, not really on Twitter and Facebook. They were, but not for like to look at powerlifting stuff, right? So it was mainly Instagram, and it's kind of like, do you follow Gary Vee?
Oh yeah.
He's like huge on attention, right? So like day trade attention, right? So if everyone's attention's on Instagram, why go elsewhere? I know he's a big believer on like spreading out your efforts in other platforms, because if Instagram crashes, we're basically done. But for us, like, that's just where powerlifters were. And yes, we're trying to like bring up our YouTube and our Facebook, but it's slower progress than our Instagram. And to us, Instagram is a very healthy social media platform. They're always innovating. They're always creating new things. It's not like a platform that's like, it's not like Vine where it just like died and like they didn't really do anything. And I guess it wasn't Vine that killed themselves. It was like Instagram and other platforms. But to me, like, Instagram is just always, it's at the forefront right now, and we don't see it ever, at least it's not going down anytime soon, hopefully.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of why we focus more just solely on Instagram.
Yeah. Is there an Instagram TV strategy you guys are toying with?
We're playing with TV, and we're still like monitoring how other people use it. We have no game plan right now. We're still learning as well. No strategy right now.
But you do have a YouTube channel, right?
Yes, we do.
Yeah, because it's Mal and Josh.
Mal and Josh, yeah.
Yeah. So what was you guys, would you describe it more as like a vlog type channel? Like, how would you explain it?
In the beginning, we tried more like doing more vlogs, but then we realized it's actually a lot of work to do vlogs, like daily vlogs or whatever. And to us, at the time when we were heavily into vlogs, we were still working full-time jobs. So it's like, it's hard to do daily vlogs when you're like more than half of the day you're at work. And we were like, hey, like, this vlog is just in our apartment again, like same as yesterday, and nothing really new happened. So we kind of slowed down on the vlogs and did more like videos with more planned out videos. So if we have like some news that we have coming up, or if we have an event, we'll do a whole video series on that event. So that's what we're focusing more on. And it goes further than just the company. It's just more so on like our personal, like what's up with our lives, entrepreneurship stuff. So less about LVD, more about like just Mal and Josh.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so it's not like a big focus for you guys, is it? Because I know you guys
on and off.
Yeah.
Like, we really want to focus it, but then like stuff with the company happens, and so it's like, yeah,
because you guys are almost at that 1,000.
I know, it's pretty cool. It's funny. Like, I feel like when we post videos, we get like some subs, but when we don't post for a long time and we go back to our account, we notice we gain so many subs without even posting. But that's the beautiful thing about YouTube that I really like, is that there's so much more, like, your videos last so much longer on YouTube than they do on like Instagram. Instagram, like, maybe you'll see a post that someone did like 3 days ago, but that's about it. Whereas Instagram, some of the related videos, or not Instagram, sorry, YouTube, some of the related videos could be from a year ago. Right? So like, people's videos from like 2015, 16 are still getting views to this date, but my Instagram posts from 2016, they're just in my history.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's like, YouTube's almost not necessarily evergreen, like where it's always relevant, but a lot of, like you said, a lot of it can come back. So is that something you kind of set as like a 2018 goal, is to kind of keep pushing YouTube now?
Yeah, we do want to do YouTube, but we're kind of stuck because like, we have a lot of niches in our account, and it's either we just keep going with it, or we kind of break off, or like focus on one niche, because we do like powerlifting, we do like reviews, we do LVD, we do just entrepreneurship. So it's like, and when you look at all the things I mentioned, there's channels specifically just for each one of those, right? So we're trying to like almost do too much out at the same time, and it confuses your audience, right? So if there's people who want to see LVD, but then we're doing legging reviews, right, from nothing LVD, so we're still trying to figure it out.
Yeah, it's tough. Like, YouTube it's hard. I think it's probably one of the hardest to grow on, because just trying to get people to consistently watch your videos can be tough, because like you said, with the like recommended videos, you can just dive down that YouTube rabbit hole and watch a million videos.
I know, right? Yeah.
So, but I watched some of your stuff. Like, because I did some research for this.
Cool.
I like it. I think it's pretty cool.
Thank you.
I subscribed.
Yeah.
So, but LVD itself doesn't have a YouTube, does it?
No, we don't.
No. Is there a plan to kind of do something like with LVD Media, kind of make a YouTube?
We were thinking of either doing a media or fitness one, and then just posting all of the work we've done. So like some highlight videos, some of our travel stuff, just to showcase it. But we haven't got that far.
Not that far.
No.
So I kind of want to loop back to Facebook and Instagram, but separate from social media is the Facebook ads, because you run Facebook ads for
LVD. Yes, LVD. I do.
Yeah. So kind of what is your, as much as you can divulge, so obviously don't want to put all your secrets and everything out here, but like in terms of like what's your strategy going in with Facebook ads?
So it wasn't until like mid last year we did Facebook ads. It's just never been something that we had a budget for, right, to begin with. Like we're students, so and we just wanted to keep everything organic, and we got really successful organically. And in my opinion, Facebook ads is like a cherry on top. Like it really helps elevate your business and get those new customers. And we use it more as like a reminder and retargeting tool, more so than like trying to generate new customers through the ads. Like we try, but our most successful ads are through retargeting and just like if we have like a launch, we'll like our main focus is just to like keep that in people's feeds, right? So like if you post a launch, it'll go away on Instagram after a day or two, but if you have an ad running, it'll just always consistently start showing up. So that's how we use our ads.
So just using a launch as an example, when you put it right out there, I'm assuming you'd run an awareness campaign first.
Yeah.
And then is there a certain point where you hit it and you flip to a conversion phase?
It's more so for like, we like doing the conversion with like website traffic.
Yeah.
So basically almost always conversion.
Yeah.
If it's website traffic based, and it'll be converting for purchase.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Any add to cart, initiate checkout in there?
I just started stuff like that.
Yeah.
At the beginning, it was just more so like purchase. In my head, I'm like, why would I optimize for anything else but a purchase? Because I'm like,
fair.
right? So, but then I'm learning more that like it's like a funnel, right? And like it helps to do the add to carts and then the checkout. And I'm still learning all that. But in the beginning, it was more so just conversions, and it was working. Like I had purchases, and it was just like it was like our ads were working. So I'm like, I didn't really experiment with anything else. But
yeah, in terms of like location of the ads, because you can do Instagram, Facebook, but they have a ton of different options within. Like, is there anywhere you're seeing that's working well?
Mobile, everyone's on mobile. It's so funny. Like we run an e-commerce company, and the majority of our customers are on mobile. I've never bought anything on mobile.
Me neither.
It's so weird. Like I'll browse on mobile, that's fine, but if I want to make a purchase, I'll go on my desktop and I'll do it. It's just, I don't know. It's weird. It's a weird concept.
But now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like 99% sure I actually bought this shirt on mobile.
Did you? Okay.
I think so. But like outside of that, I can't think of a mobile purchase that I made.
I don't know why.
I'll always jump on my laptop or something if I'm
It's
gonna
funny,
make a purchase. Yeah.
So what was the question?
It was just like location.
Oh yeah. We mainly focus in North America. The reason is that if we try to go like outside, like shipping is just a lot and customs. So you're almost like not wasting those ads, but it's harder to generate leads with those ads because it's way harder to buy. So we focus on North America. Location right now, a lot of the East Coast, right, is like really working a lot. Maybe because we are from the East Coast, and it's like as like the company grows and the awareness, it just kind of spreads. But yeah.
Just something you talked about, North American and international shipping. What's shipping to the US like? Is it
cheaper than Canada?
Really?
Yeah, it's weird. Yeah.
Really?
Yep. It blew my mind. Like sometimes it would cost, let's say, $12 to ship to Toronto. To the States, it'd be $8.
That's so
anywhere
weird.
in the States.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like, that's just.
It was weird.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So, do you have a US site then?
No, we don't.
No.
We just have one central site.
Yeah, that's fair. And then, sorry, I should have kind of clarify a little more in terms of location. Are you posting I meant like, are you in feed? Do you use the stories?
That location.
Yeah, sorry, that's my bad. I should have.
Yeah.
I totally get where
for Facebook, we do in feed and the right column.
Yep.
The right side column, and on Instagram, we just do feed. Sometimes we do stories, but just mainly feeds.
Yeah. That's fair, because I don't think there's like one or two ads I can remember swiping up in a story, but never like.
No. Yeah.
And then you talked about filters at one point. Sorry, I just
filters.
Stories for Snapchat filters. Sorry.
Oh yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I just my brain.
That's okay.
Do you guys still use Snapchat at all? Is that a strategy for you guys?
No more Snapchat.
Not at all.
No.
That's fair. Back to just regular social media. There's a question I noticed I missed.
Sure.
Have you ever been recognized? You've been like out and someone came up to you like, "Oh, I know your Instagram." Like, has that ever happened to you?
All the time.
Really?
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
And I still always get like thrown off by it. Like just the other day, I at the Barhaven Good Life, this guy was squatting, and I was just waiting for the squat rack, and then after he's like, "Hey, are you LVD Josh?" I was like, "Yeah," and he's like, "Oh, nice to meet you." And I was like, "Cool, man, nice to meet you too." And I was like, "Do you powerlift?" And then he just like kind of walked away.
Oh,
Like he just wanted to like introduce himself, and was like, "Oh, okay," but they happen a lot, and it's just really cool.
yeah.
Yeah.
I actually have a story where I recognized you in public one time.
Really?
It's a little weird.
Okay.
So I never ever go out. Like
Okay.
I don't know. I just don't.
Yeah, I'm the same. I don't go out much.
Yeah. So it was after Blues Fest just a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
I was with my buddy, and he was like, I'm going to meet up with some of my friends. Do you want to come with me? And I was like, I haven't seen this guy in a while. I'll go with you. Sure. Went to McLaren on Elgin.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, I had my girlfriend with me, and he had his girlfriend. We were all sitting there, and I'm like, I'd never been there before.
Yeah.
So I'm like looking around. I'm like, this place is kind of cool.
Yep.
And I look at the back, and I looked at my girlfriend. I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's like Josh from LVD at the back.
That's so funny.
She's like, are you sure? I was like, well, I don't know. She's like, well, just look at his Instagram.
Yeah.
So I jump on my phone and I like refresh my Instagram, and then a story pops up from you right away, and I click on it, and it was like you like location tagged McLaren on Elgin.
Yeah.
And it just kind of like blew my mind.
That's so funny. And
Yeah.
you know what's funny about that? I don't go out either, and that was like the day of hope, and just like a bunch of my friends, we came home to our place, and we just had like a barbecue, and we're just hanging out, and no one wanted to like, we didn't know what to do, and we're like, let's just go play like billiards or pool in like downtown. And I've never played pool with them, so that was like the first time I played pool at McLaren's. So that's funny how
Yeah,
that worked out.
That story's kind of inspired me to ask that question. Do people ever recognize you?
Yep.
Is it-
People recognize. Well, I wouldn't know if they didn't come up to me.
Yeah, that's fair.
So like there might be more. But a lot of people do come up to me from all over. And again, I'm always thrown off. I don't assume that anyone knows who I am. Yeah, it's just really cool.
Do you get recognized in the gym a lot?
Yes.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Especially because I'm also wearing LVD. It's either me or the company. Like they'll be like, "Oh, like
Okay.
where's that logo from?" Right.
Yeah.
So.
And
Yeah.
if someone asks specifically about the logo, do you say it's like my company, or do you just kind of like play it off? You're just like,
I just like it's just I tell them about LVD, but
Yeah.
I don't really like try and flex. If they ask like, oh, like where's it from, who owns it, okay, I won't lie to them, but like I don't really like show off in that way.
that's fair.
Yep.
And then just in terms of the gym, how often do you go to the
How
gym?
often? Right now it's five times a week. It could range from 3 times, as low as 3, as much as 5.
Okay.
Yep. But my workouts are like 2 to 3 hours.
Yeah, that's a long time.
Yeah, it's a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
But what people don't realize is that when I'm at the gym, I'm also practicing, right? So like hockey players or basketball players, like they have their practice and then they work out. They're kind of separate, but mine are together. Like I'm getting stronger, but also practicing the movements. That's why people, they think it's crazy, but when you think of it as like practice, it's like not as bad.
And just how long have you been at that Good Life?
That's the Good Life. I did the
Like-
free fitness
Oh, really?
in high school.
So it's just always that same one?
It's always been that one as my main one. Obviously, like I moved downtown with Mallory, so like, and I was training at Carlton, and then it's like on and off. But then now it's like for the last year we've been at that one because we moved back to Barhaven.
Okay.
So yeah.
So where was the time between like when you switched gyms? I'm just trying to figure out because I used to go to that gym.
Okay.
I'm trying to figure out if I ever would have been like there during the beginning of LVD because there used to be guys that would come with cameras and like record themselves. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just trying to figure out.
In the beginning, we'd go there just because it was a gym that we could actually like take pictures and record
Yeah.
at late at night. So we go like late, so like no one was really on us. But in between was like Carlton because I went to school there. It's just convenient. And then we went to like Lansdowne a lot. Queens Street, we loved that one for a bit. Or no, sorry, Queens View. That's the one near IKEA.
Okay.
It's very powerlifter friendly. A lot of powerlifters were there. Yeah, and then within the last year, we've really been doing Good Life, like Barhaven. Like living downtown, like it was like Barhaven's kind of a stretch, but it worked out that my family's still in Barhaven and Mal's family is near IKEA, so it's like not too far from our families. But yeah.
That's fair. In terms of doing like photography stuff in a gym, now do you guys kind of like have arrangements with different gyms when you're gonna do like a product shoot or anything?
We have one arrangement with Just Lift. They're an Olympic weightlifting gym in Ottawa. The owner's really cool. He powerlifts now too. And yeah, he lets us shoot whenever we want.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I know you touched on earlier, I kind of want to get into what's next for yourself in LVD.
Yep.
You touched into more moving away from a powerlifting apparel company. Do you want to kind of elaborate on that a little bit more?
Yeah, so actually not many people know this because we haven't put it
If
out
you
there.
don't want to, like we
No, that's fine. That's fine. It's just we just haven't really announced it, but we're like slowly doing a rebrand, but not a rebrand with like our logo, more so just like who we are, what we stand for, who we're targeting. We really want to do like more general fitness, right? So there's a lot of people that we're realizing after talking to different high schools, universities, and like different friends from other strength sports, that like people like the logo, they like the designs, they like everything about the company, but once they look at our Instagram page and look at our website, they're like, oh, this isn't for me. But it is for you, but they just think that it isn't for them because we're very we're very much powerlifting, and if you're not a powerlifter, you might be turned away from that. So we want to kind of be more inclusive to just the general fitness and like more people. So we're trying to think of a game plan on how to do that, but also like market to the powerlifters, right? And it's really cool because like we're almost in like this new age of powerlifters. Like before, powerlifting was like skulls, like really hardcore, and which was fine, but now there's more like minimalistic is like coming into powerlifting more, and like more fashion forward things are coming into powerlifting, and we really think that will help us kind of reach out to the other general fitness, right? So instead of just like a bunch of barbells or like a bunch of bars loaded, like it's more, we could do shirts that are more like strength specific instead of powerlifting. Yeah, so that's kind of what's next for the company.
That's fair. And like personally, I'm not a power lifter.
That's fine.
So like,
yeah.
and so I went on. I like the company, and I
Yeah.
bought a shirt. So
Yeah.
I mean,
Thank you.
I don't know how long you guys been doing it, but it's definitely working.
Yeah,
'Cause I
no,
was-
like this is very recent.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
Yeah, it's very recent that we've decided this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one other thing I wanted to bring up about the company, you send handwritten notes with every single purchase, right?
We used to.
Used to?
I know. It breaks my heart. It wasn't until our last collection in June. Like up to that point, we've sent out like thousands of handwritten notes, which was amazing, and like it really helped us. It helped build that community aspect more. Right? It was more like personal. I believe yours would have been handwritten note,
Yep.
right? Yeah. Because like we don't have that shirt in our warehouse in Toronto.
Okay.
So now we work with a fulfillment company, so they ship and pack everything.
Okay.
So we don't do any more shipping and packing, which gives us a lot more free time, but we lose the control of the handwritten notes.
That's
so
fair.
that
But-
was the expense of growing to the next level,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, of course. Like just with scaling a company,
It's so hard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I can't even imagine like how many notes you've probably written over
A
the past
lot,
couple of years.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
But even so, like it's just like a simple little thing. It's got kind of like a watermark of the logo on there too, right? And
Yep.
it's just like a little thing for purchasing.
Yeah. And honestly, like one tip that I read, I think through a Shopify blog, it says, do things that don't scale to scale. Like it's a weird concept, but it works.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
One other thing I wanted to, so in terms of what's next, so that's where LVD is going.
Yep.
And then I know you personally, you just recently got into realtor school, correct?
Real estate, yeah.
Real estate?
Yeah. What's next for me? It wasn't until our mentor brought this up last year. He was like, so like what's next? So like a company was doing really well, and then he says like we're streamlining some processes, we're getting more time, and then he's like, okay, so what's your next business? We were like, what? It's like, no, like LVD is our baby, like it's a rider, like we're doing this company until we die. And then like we thought about it more, and we're like, oh, like maybe we can do another business, because he's like, he sees us as builders, like, and then me and Mallory took the time to think about that concept, and we realized that we love the process of like building a business and building a brand, and that like as we free up more time, like why not start another business? Like we're just like almost like the serial entrepreneurial mindset, and so that's kind of where we're at. We're looking at what other ventures that we could get into, what other industries that we can get into. Have you read Rich Dad Poor Dad?
I've not.
Oh, I think I DM that to you.
Potentially.
Because you recommended the Gary Vee book to me.
I assumed like when you were asking for recommendations, I was like, I'm 99% sure you've probably read these already, but I'll just figure you might have.
Yeah. Read that book. I read it earlier this year. It changed my life. Or sorry, not my life, my mindset, which is going to change my life. But anyway, so after that book, I'm like really getting into real estate. But to get into real estate, like I want to be in it as well, like to learn. And that's kind of why I got into real estate. But aside from the real estate stuff, I'm looking for another opportunity we could launch, like another business.
So all about
whatever that is.
diversifying income. essentially.
Yeah.
Which I'm assuming will probably, like, of course, doing that isn't an easy task, but it'll be easier now with you streamlining processes with LVD, right? Like the fulfillment company in Toronto.
Yep. And having been there, right? Like your second company will be a little bit easier than your first one because there's some things that you always have to do in every company, like the banking, the accounting, the back end, the financials. Whereas if you've done it already, you're kind of more prepared for your second one, and then your third one, and then fourth one. So yeah.
To that effect, would there be something, just looking back at LVD, that you would do differently if you were to just do it all over again?
Do differently. I would say focus as much effort on the front end as we do, or more effort on the back end as we do on the front end. So we're very much marketing and sales, like go, like get the product out there, like market to customers. But then the back end was like struggling. Like I got to a point where our accountants were like, so where are the books? And we're like, oh, we don't bookkeep. So I had to like do a bunch of backtracking, and it ended up being a lot more work doing the backtracking than actually always doing it every day and be more regular. And there's just a lot of small examples of just the back end stuff biting us later on because we don't do them, or like, not that we don't do them, it's just we don't think about it, or we didn't think it's as important. As two students who started a business, like we didn't really have that much experience. So focusing on the back end is very important.
In terms of like multiple revenue streams, I'm assuming this is a no, but would you ever, like, with your own personal social media, leverage that to do like brand deals with other companies somehow? Or is it just because you have your own company with LVD, it's kind of
more so with Mal? Like she's been doing some brand deals with other companies. It's hard to do with Apparel because we are an apparel. We own an apparel company, but she'll do other stuff. Like she won't say no to an apparel company, but we just don't get asked by apparel companies because of conflict of interest and whatever. But yeah, she's more so like she's definitely, she has a media kit and she's reaching out to people. I haven't done that much because for me right now my leverage is my lifting, and with lifting the main companies are Apparel. Okay, well I have that, can't do that. There's supplement companies, I don't take supplements, right? So it's really hard to find a company that will I could work with that will be beneficial to my like followers. So I haven't really done that, but Mallory is definitely doing that.
Yeah, is that something that you think like you would want to do eventually?
I thought about it. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. It's like she's more of like the marketing. Like I'll kind of let all the followers go to her. That's totally fine with me, and I'll like be like the back end. I haven't really thought of it as much. That's
fair. And just another thing, like what's work-life balance like in terms of having the company working out 2-3 hours a day? Like how does that kind of play in?
It's every day is different. Like some days I might just do like an hour of work, and then like I'll go to the gym and then come home and do some reading or like research other projects that I want to work on. And then some days it'll be like 12 hours of straight LVD and I don't work out because I can't. It's just time management, which I learned a lot through university and through the company and working jobs at the same time. And it's definitely all just time management.
That's fair.
Yeah.
And then so with working with Mallory again and living together, do you guys have like a way to kind of turn on and off like your business mind, or could it be like 10:30 and you guys are going to bed and then an idea pops in, you get like a big LVD spree for like 2 hours late at night? Like how do you guys balance that?
So that's my head. Like that's how I think. I'm very much just like I could be mid squat and I'm like, oh, that's a good business idea, right? Like, and then I want to tell Mallory right away, but she's different and she wants to focus on what she's doing, right? So if she's working out, she doesn't want to do business. She doesn't want to talk about business. She wants me to write it down so we can talk about it later. It was annoying in the beginning, and then we got used to it. And so how we work is that we're really good at wearing different hats. So that's what we said. So if we're working out, we're just working out. Just that's it, right? Just focus on your workout. If we're on a date, we try our best to just think about it, like talk about our relationship and stuff like non-business related things. And we're working, we'll just talk strictly LVD. Like I won't tell her about my squat PR, or like I won't be thinking about workout. It'll just be like very like siloed into whatever you're doing, and I feel like that helps keep us focused.
That's fair.
Yeah.
So one other thing that I'm becoming more interested in personally is like morning and night routines.
Okay.
Do you like, have a morning and night routine? It kind of plays into your like siloing everything, and like how does that look for you?
Yeah. So currently my routine is I'll wake up around 6, go straight down. I'll go into my deck if it's not raining, but if it's raining, I'll be inside, and I'll read for half an hour always. Then grab a cup of coffee, and then sometimes I want to get better at this. I want to like do morning stretches, and it'll just help like with my recovery for powerlifting. So I'll try and stretch, and then I'll go straight into just answering emails, and then more so the bulk of, and then I'll look at my to-do list and see what I have to do that day, and then prioritize like important tasks. Smaller tasks will be like near the bottom, because like I'm more focused in the morning. I feel like I'm more of a morning person. My productivity kind of goes down after 1 o'clock. I think more distractions. That's kind of around the time where I'm going to the gym. So I try to get my like the bigger items done before noon. And then my nightly routine, again, I want to try and get better at nightly stretching, and we'll watch like a half hour of Netflix before bed just to kind of unwind. But that's my current routine now. Yeah,
That's fair.
Before it was really hard because it was hard to do a routine when we had so much going on, working full time, student full time. It's like any free time, it would just be like we'd sub like work or working out or our business.
Yeah. So with just being an entrepreneur and being able to kind of like mold your own schedule, a lot of people would view that as like a positive thing.
Mm-hmm.
What would you kind of say are positives and negatives of being an entrepreneur and like having your own business?
The positives is obviously being flexible. If I want to take my sister out to lunch, I could just do that and just like kind of stop everything. A really big negative we're realizing now is that as people who were always go before, like we always had something on our schedule. Right now, if we don't have work that we're doing, we're kind of like lost. We're like, okay, what do we work on right now? And like sometimes you get lazy. Like you just want to clean the dishes, you want to cook food, you want to take a nap. Like it's actually really hard. But then if we had a full packed day, we could just go, right? So people, like for us at least, we need to stay busy. That's why we want to introduce other projects, like maybe learn about real estate or like just do whatever. And an interesting thing that we're doing now is we're looking for part-time jobs.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
So
it.
like either part-time jobs and like part-time gigs. So like two sides of it. Like we'll look for like marketing contracts and stuff on the side, but also a part-time job. Not so much just to have like more income. Like obviously more income is good, but it's also an opportunity to like learn more. Like I'm like really getting into coffee and I want to learn about coffee. So I was like, why don't I apply to be a Starbucks employee?
Yeah.
Learn about coffee part-time, right? So, and at this point, I just want to diversify like my incomes and like maybe LVD and then part-time job and like some marketing contracts and just like whatever else I could do just to keep me busy. You know what I mean? Like I want to stay efficient and productive, because if I don't do anything, I could get lazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yep.
So I feel like we've been talking for a while now, and the audience kind of they know you better in the beginning. So I kind of want to get into some rapid fire questions, if that's cool.
All right.
So I mean, I call it rapid fire because I don't really have another name for it. But you don't have to just like one word. Like you can kind of elaborate if you want to.
Couple words.
Yeah, couple words. Like you can like really like some past couple ones that I've done. Like we've talked at length about different things. So I just call it rapid fire
Sure.
for lack of a name. Favorite app you're using right now that's not Instagram, Twitter, Facebook?
Favorite app? I was gonna say Spotify, but that's a lame answer. Todoist.
Okay.
So that's the app we use for our to-do lists.
Cool.
It's a really cool app. Me and Mallory are both in it, and I could give her items to do. She can give me items to do. You could put due dates. You could put priorities, when to get done. And I just got like she's gonna make fun of me for this, but I'm like a big preacher for Todoist now. But like it took her forever to get me into this like to-do list train, because like my mind's so scatterbrained. Like I could be driving and I'll think of an idea or like something I have to do, and I'll be like, oh, I'll remember that later. I don't remember it, right? So then I'm in a habit now. Like I'll always, whenever something comes to my head, to-do list. Even if it's simple as like look into Shopify, or like email Bob his receipt, right? You know, like any little thing I'll always put to-do list, and then I'll organize it later. But Todoist is
Cool.
what it's called.
Does it cost any money?
No, we use the free version.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll have to look into that because I kind of do the same thing where just any little thing I throw in on a to-do list, but my to-do list is just in my notes.
Notes.
Right now.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So it'd be cool to have someone to organize it.
Yeah. Save due dates and priorities. So,
Yeah. That's awesome. A show you're binging on Netflix right now.
We just finished one. What was it? We just finished Good Girls, I think what it's called.
Okay.
It's really funny. Yeah. It's like these three moms, financial trouble, and they end up robbing a convenience store. But the the grocery store is run by a drug cartel. So the drug cartel goes after the three moms. It's really funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. And you just finished that one?
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll have to check that out. It's on Netflix?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We like shows more than movies because if we unwind after, like it's easier to watch like an episode of a show than like a whole movie.
I agree.
And I hate stopping a movie because it's like you're so into it and then it's like, oh, okay, we're going to stop and then get back into it later on.
No, my dad used to do that when I was growing up. When I'd be like a little kid, we'd watch the first hour of a movie and then he'd tell me to go to bed like halfway through it. And I'm like, why do we start this movie?
This is the good part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I don't even watch movies because
No.
like 2 hours I'm just like, man, I don't have time.
Yeah.
But then sometimes you watch 2 episodes of like a 45-minute show and basically the same thing.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
It's just
And I feel like with shows, there's more like opportunity for a really good plot. Like movies, you have to fit everything in 2 hours, right? Where a show, it could be, I don't know, 15 episodes long, 20 episodes, right? So.
Yeah. And production values in shows are just going up. So
It's
they just
crazy.
keep getting
Yeah.
better and better.
It's almost too many shows now, though.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You can't keep up with everything.
No,
Yeah.
no, you can't.
Not at all.
Next, so you've already kind of said one, but top 3 books you would recommend.
Okay, so full disclaimer, before this year, I don't really read books.
Okay.
Like unless it was for school. Like I keep joking to Mal's mom because we were at the cottage and I finished 2 books, and I was like, that's 2 more books I've ever finished in my life. Top 3 books, I would say Rich Dad Poor Dad is my number 1 recommended book. Second book is The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck.
It's a good book. I actually just finished that one a
Did
little
you?
while ago. Yeah.
Nice. And then the third book, I think the only other book I read was like a real estate book. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe a Gary Vee book.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you listening to any podcasts right now? And if so, what would you recommend?
I'm listening to 2 podcasts. One I wouldn't recommend because it's real estate. So like if you're not into it, then you wouldn't really like it. I love Shopify podcasts. They're really cool. They give a lot of insight on a lot of different types of businesses, from like lifestyle brands to like coffee to like watches. And they're just very good at like topics of, I feel like whenever they have a podcast, it always applies to me, whatever it is, right? Like I could always apply it to myself. So definitely subscribe to the Shopify podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fair. Do you watch YouTube? And if so, like, who are you watching?
I'm really lame, but I watch YouTube, but it's real estate.
That's fair.
Like it'll be
Yeah.
real estate guys. I just got into it. YouTubers, I'll follow like Christian Guzman.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know Christian Guzman?
It sounds familiar, but
It's like
I can't.
it's like a really big fitness guy.
Okay.
The thing about him is I followed him when he was like really small, and now he's like one of like the face of like fitness in like YouTube and Instagram. So it's just really cool to see his growth, and I just keep up with him. That's about it. I don't really follow any like YouTubers. I should, but I don't know. For me, I'm like at this point, I'm more like tactical than entertainment. Like if I'll watch a YouTube video to learn something that I could do, or like that'll teach me something like a skill or like an inside fact that I could apply to like real estate or business or e-commerce. That's kind of what I watch right now, more so than just like entertainment.
I agree. Like it's such a good like learning platform.
Yeah. And like I love Gary Vee. Like I was a huge Gary Vee binge watcher, and I watched a bunch of his stuff like last year, and then I slowly started falling off because he repeats a lot of his stuff, and which is fun because he wants to nail it into your head, like certain mindsets and certain stuff. But he's just motivation. He doesn't actually tell you how, like he has some tips, but there's nothing that actually tells you how to start an e-commerce website, right? Or like how to do Facebook ads. He doesn't actually tell you that. So I kind of geared away from Gary Vee and started doing more like practical people or practical videos. And even Gary Vee's like, he doesn't want people to watch him, because if you're watching him and you're just watching him and not doing anything, he doesn't want that. He wants you to like kind of shy away from him, do your stuff because you were motivated by his videos, right? So yeah, I was big on Gary, but I'm still big on Gary. I just don't watch him as much anymore.
That's fair. I don't know if you know, he has a podcast.
Yeah, he does.
So he pulls a lot of stuff from his YouTube.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if you ever listened to his podcast.
I do.
Oh, okay.
I do. I download them on Spotify.
Yep.
If I'm going on a plane ride or something, like it's just good to listen to. But yeah.
Cool. And then not YouTube but Instagram, like some of your favorite people you follow on Instagram.
Wow. Honestly, I follow more brands, I guess, than people. It'll all be like, I don't even know who I follow.
That's okay. Like we can skip this one if it's a.
Yeah.
Because I feel like YouTube and Instagram is a little different, because you follow like maybe like 30 YouTube accounts, but like 700 Instagrammers. I don't know how many you follow, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Not much.
No?
It's more so just like my friends and like lifters. Yeah.
Yeah. This one's an Ottawa specific question.
Sure.
Must eat spot, or like a hidden gem of a restaurant.
Hidden
in
gem.
the city.
You might know this, but no one else in the city will know it as much. But it's Penelope's. Have you heard of Penelope's?
Never heard of it.
So they're actually down. Oh, what road is that? What's this road? This is
Strandherd.
Okay, it's just straight down Strandherd past the Home Depot, and it's past the Home Depot, but before the Costco. It's like in one of those random little.
Is it close to?
Do you know the Royal Oak?
Yep.
On in that little area, so it's
Yeah.
like in the same plaza.
Okay.
It's a Greek restaurant owned by a friend of mine in high school. Like his family owns it. Hands down, the best service I've ever gotten at a restaurant ever, and the food is amazing, and the portions are huge.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it's a small family restaurant, and it's like you might have to get a reservation because it's like they fill up really fast. But I would highly suggest going to that spot, Penelope's.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
So now this question I stole from Gary Vee. The question is, what are you obsessed with?
Okay.
But it's not from like a high level. It's not like I'm obsessed with providing clean water.
Sure.
It's like really narrow and specific. Like I have this pair of fuzzy socks that I recently bought, and I just love. Like I wear them all the time. I'm obsessed with them. Something off the wall, random, but you're absolutely obsessed with it.
Okay. Probably my AirPods.
Yeah.
I just love my AirPods. They're just so convenient. Like I use them to work out. I use them to like to work. You can do calls on them. They're just a lot of really cool features. I don't know. I love my AirPods.
I've been looking at getting them. Like, so you have no issues like losing them or anything?
Nope.
No.
I misplaced them, but like not the like the AirPods themselves, like the case that they have.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm always transferring them, right? So they'll either be my gym bag or my work bag beside my laptop. Like it's in one of those three areas all the time, but I don't always know exactly where it is. Yeah.
That's fair. Oh, so they have like it's a case, I guess.
So it's like it's like a case, and it's also charging
Oh,
charging
cool.
pod. So like the AirPods themselves can go for like 8 hours, I believe, of like playing music. But if you put them into the charging cases has 24 hours of rechargeable battery. So I charge the case maybe once every 2 weeks, once every week and a half. But that's it. You don't have to charge. The case charges the AirPods every time you put them in.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Something that about yourself that you don't think people would expect.
This is like a really random fact, but I'm allergic to raw fruits.
Raw fruits.
Yep.
So like
Like a banana.
Really?
Banana is the worst. It's like my kryptonite.
Wow.
I won't die.
Yeah.
I'm not like deathly allergic, but the smell of banana, like the actual like if I actually eat it, I instantly get nauseous.
Wow.
My throat starts to like tingle and my lips swell up a bit. And that's like the extreme. Like it's almost all raw fruits. Obviously they vary in severity, but I could do like apple. It's like on the lower end, but I could do like easily do apple juice. I guess I could do banana juice too.
I've never had banana juice.
That's an example. Like, if it was like in juice form, or if it was like I've eaten cooked banana like in a dessert.
Yeah.
That's fine, but not raw. It's weird. Yeah.
And then so one other thing, like this one you can be high level if you want to. Just one thing that you want people to know about you. Like not a random fact, like just one thing that you want everyone to know.
Oh.
I say everyone, and there might be 14 people. I don't know how many people are going to watch this or
Yeah.
listen to this, but
That's a good question. One thing I want everyone to know, just like a fact or like a.
yeah, like it could honestly be anything. Like we can skip it too if you don't.
No, I want to think about it.
All right, yeah, for sure.
What do you want everyone to know? That. Oh, I guess it's another. This could also add to the other question of what I'm obsessed with. Like recently, I've really been obsessed with the whole minimalist lifestyle. Like, have you heard of someone living as a minimalist?
Yeah, no, I've been looking into it recently too.
Like, that's what I want everyone to know. Like, I'm seriously looking into becoming a minimalist from like all aspects, right? So obviously, like right now, I'm starting with clothing. So I'm like going through all my apparel and like, what don't I wear? Like, what haven't I worn in 2018 yet? And like, I'll throw it out, or not throw it out. Sorry, like donate. And so from there, I'm gonna go into like my electronics, like my apps on my computer, my phone, and just like eventually like live a more minimalist lifestyle and just make sure anything that you own has purpose. And it's just, I watched a documentary on Netflix,
The minimalism.
Yeah. And the guy that directed it, Matt
Diavella.
Oh, he's like one of my, okay, that's my YouTuber. I'm gonna add that to my YouTuber answer. Like I found him like 3 weeks ago, and I love his videos, love his podcast, love like his cinematography. Like he's one guy like I'm like obsessed with right now on YouTube, and he kind of got me on that like minimalist train, right? And it's just that like people are just so obsessed with stuff, but it means nothing, right? And also as an entrepreneur, it's like broke entrepreneur, you don't have money. And it helps with the minimalism, because if you had a bunch of money, I feel like it'd be harder to not buy stuff. But if you don't have the funds, it might be easier to just, okay, I won't buy that now. Yeah. You know what I mean? But yes, I want to be a minimalist.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I want to give you the floor. Where can people find you?
Cool.
Where do you want people to follow? Go to?
Yep. So LVD Josh is my personal Instagram for lifting, LVD related things, and just entrepreneurship. LVD Fitness is our business account. LVD Media is our like added service to that business. The website is lvdfitness.com. I have a website, but I haven't built it yet, so I won't say that. But Mallory has a website. It's malloryrowan.com.
Cool. I'll make sure everything is linked in the show notes.
Perfect.
I want to thank you for taking the time to be on this podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, I have a quick story. So when I started this podcast, I have like a master list of people in Ottawa.
Okay.
And like I kind of set like goals for people to get on the podcast, and you were one of the people I was like, you're one of my like goals to get people, because I was like, you're local, you're close, like I like the company. It was just like one of my goals. I kind of want to let you know that was
right on.
When you said you'd be on the show, I was pumped.
Cool.
So I want to thank you once again.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So make sure you follow Josh on Instagram at LVD Josh. Thank you once again for listening. And guys, I highly recommend you check out LVD Fitness. Pick up a shirt, pick up a hat. They're a great company. And again, every single item purchased goes to 1 month of clean water.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And if you wish to follow me, you can on Twitter and Instagram at the Jacob Kelly. Thank you once again for listening, everybody. We'll talk soon.
Perfect.
Thank you for listening to this episode of My Social Life. I really, really appreciate it. I really hope you liked it. And if you did, make sure you leave us a rating and a review. If you do this, it helps the show get discovered and seen by more people, and technically heard by more people. And make sure you follow Josh on Instagram. He's at Josh H. Reyes. He's actually switched it from the time we recorded this podcast from LVD Josh to Josh Reyes. He wants his account to be more about him, and everything LVD related will have that LVD tag. But since he's going to do more than just LVD Fitness, he kind of wanted to differentiate. And make sure you check out LVD, guys. It's an awesome company. If you're watching on video, the shirt I'm wearing is from them. They're a great company. I highly recommend it. And of course, they buy 1 month of clean water for those in need with every purchase. So I really recommend it. Great product, great company, great founders. So I really recommend it. And if you want to follow me, you totally can. I'm at the Jacob Kelly on Instagram and Twitter. If you want to follow the podcast, you can. It's currently on Instagram at My Social Pod. You can also follow it on YouTube at just My Social Life. Thank you once again for listening, everybody. We'll talk soon.